All right, welcome back, everybody. You're watching this special extended edition of Morning Live. It's TNA morning this morning, and today we're focusing in on public service, and that's where our Minister Lindiwe Sisulu is our guest here, and she's joining Peter, and usually with a panel of guests. I'm not too sure if anybody else is going to be joining her. We'll have to cross over to Peter and find out, but generally there are a panel that's made up, and they speak about all relevant issues surrounding this. Now, you're more than welcome to participate in this conversation if you would like to. That's at Morning Live SABC, and that's how you can get hold of us. A couple of people already commenting on Twitter about this particular broadcast and listening to what the minister had to say in her speech. Said if the government doesn't tolerate corruption, then why is Mayor Mapetle defended instead of being investigated and charged? I suppose that's just one of the comments coming out. Prince Chane is saying, Minister, if you put people first, why did Minister Ngezi spend 210 million rand at Nkandla and not improve Eastern Cape schools conditions? So these are just some of the issues that are coming out. I'm going to save them so that we can actually ask this to the Minister directly, so that she'll have an opportunity to answer these questions as well. But before we go back, the Public Administration Management Bill, which was approved by Cabinet in May, and the Protected Disclosures Act 26 of 2000 are just some of the policy and legislation related to the Department of Public Service and Administration. The following piece takes a look at the Public Finance Management Act and its demands on public servants.
The South African Broadcasting Corporation and the Development Bank of Southern Africa are some of the public entities bound by the Public Finance Management Act in how they manage their finances. The Act is meant to secure transparency and accountability in the management of public funds by state-owned or public entities. It also regulates how these finances can be used. It promotes good governance and ensures sound management of revenue, expenditure, assets and liabilities for the national and provincial departments. It also provides the responsibilities of the accounting officers or public servants within these entities, with National Treasury as the purse holder. Cabinet or executive authorities, in this case Minister Lindiwe Sisulu, interacts with the PFMA through her budget vote to seek financial approval from Parliament for budget and expenditure. Operationally, the Act puts in place standards that public servants have to abide by in their financial conduct. Officials who don't comply or are considered corrupt can be taken through disciplinary steps which could lead to criminal proceedings. Some of the challenges facing the Department of Public Service and Administration with regard to the management of public funds includes public servants who do business with government while in the employ of government. In 2012, the Auditor General found that national departments spent 33.5 billion and provincial departments 68.5 billion on consulting work that could have been done internally. So how will the minister make use of the PFMA remedies to ensure that public servants handle the public purse appropriately?
So, welcome back. We're in Sandton, and here we are discussing the issues of the public service. And just as a setup, I guess, this Public Management Act, yes. Mm-hmm. Perhaps you want to comment on that, just even before we carry on.
Yes. The Public Administration Management Act is actually provided for in Chapter 10 of the Constitution. And I think in retrospect, this is one of the first pieces of legislation we should have put in place. What it does is lay out a set of principles that we get from the Constitution about the nature and the values and the kind of public service we should have. And it goes on to say in the Constitution that there will be an enabling act. This is the enabling act, to ensure that the values and principles that the Constitution requires of us cascades to the lowest level, that there is uniformity of these standards. We are one government. We have 3 tiers to this government, but we should have a coherent set of values that makes it possible for us to do what needs to be done.
All right, so that somebody engaging somewhere in Tlokwe or at a national department in Johannesburg will get the same quality of service, same standard of service throughout.
Somebody in Tlokwe will get the same kind of service that we provide, say, in any big municipality. What's more, the bill allows us for a transfer of skills. usually skills are concentrated at the first level, which is national government, leaving the lower sphere, which is actually the most important because of its closeness to our people, almost scrambling to get skills. It is going to be possible for us now to transfer a DG from national government to be a city manager in a struggling municipality, and capacitate our local government. The bill also provides for the establishment of the Anti-Corruption Bureau. There was a question asked by Leanne a little earlier on about what are we going to do about the PFMA and making sure that it is adhered to. Any of the contraventions of the PFMA will be dealt with by the Anti-Corruption Bureau. The bill also allows for the establishment of the Office of Standards and Compliance, which is a very powerful instrument that ensures that at all the various levels of government we are complying with regulations and laws.
All right. You know what? I'm actually going to go back a little bit and maybe ask a very simple question, but I think just to get some clarity, because some people might not actually know what you as the Minister of Public Service and Administration actually does. What does your ministry do? Because I'm thinking, you know, there's a Minister of Home Affairs, the Minister has her employees, and where do you start your job and where does she start hers? Where do they overlap? What do you do? How do you work together, essentially?
Okay. Government is very good at using big words like transversal and all of those things. Put very simply, I'm responsible for the public administration of this country. I'm responsible for the public servants of this country. In terms of the Constitution, I am required to lay standards and norms for effective and efficient public service, professional public service. That's what I do. Where does my job end and where does the next person's job end? Where a minister of, say, education job starts is in education and all that has to do with the responsibilities of education. But the norms and standards will have been set by the Minister of Public Administration through the PEM bill that we're putting together now. And what do? I'm very busy. Extremely busy.
All right, so you talked about the professionalization of the public service. What does that mean? What is that going to mean? And what will that mean for me, Joe Consumer, Joe Public?
What it means is that you can now expect a professional public service. What we are putting into it is the necessary education to ensure that all those aspects that go towards making a professional public servant are put into that public servant. Very often we've drawn people who've come in, perhaps straight from university or from any other employment, and assumed that naturally they will do that which needs to be done. No, public service is a very specialized arm of government where we actually want to put at the disposal of our people services that are put together professionally and dealt with professionally. Let me just make an example. When I was Deputy Minister of Home Affairs, which was my first job in government, we were given the responsibility of crafting this professional public servant in Home Affairs. And what we did was to insist that every official in Home Affairs wears a badge. Every official in Home Affairs will say good morning to everybody who comes next in line. They will be courteous. They will respond to queries within a certain number of days. And all of those things that make for the kind of service that our people deserve. Educated about what the laws require of this country. Creating out of them a certain ethos and culture and tradition that says our people come first. Because they are paid to ensure that our people are given the services in a courteous, efficient, all of these good things is what counts for professionalism.
I guess it's inculcating this idea that it's a service to the people,
yes,
as opposed to just a job, because I think sometimes when we interact, I've got the sense sometimes that the guy thinks he's doing me a favor, actually, in providing this service, whatever it is.
Yeah. And the reason why he thinks he's doing you a favor is because citizens are not empowered to say, I will not take this. The message we are sending out there is the public service is actually a very sheltered employment. The public service, I believe, are very well paid. They have a job to do, and that job is to offer a professional service courteously and efficiently. You, as a citizen, have a right to say, I will not take bad service. It is your right. It is the money that we get from the public purse that pays the public servant. So don't tolerate it. We are not a complaining nation, and that is why we continuously get bad service. We shouldn't.
Are you saying, you just said that they're paid well?
They are paid well.
Really? Sandton might say otherwise. Have you made up with Sandton then?
Oh, no. I was indicating a little earlier. I have here a service charter. One of the resolutions we took when we agreed on this 3-year wage agreement was the way in which we would relate with labor. And I think that it is possible for them to cover the area of their responsibility, which is the rights of the workers, without resorting to some of the actions that they've had to resort to in the past. And we've opened up lines of communication. We've lost a lot of time, we've lost a lot of ground, we've lost a lot of money. And we do have a common purpose, and that common purpose is to serve our people. And between ourselves as government and the unions, labor represented by unions, we have a very solid agreement. We will invite you to the signing of the charter. 75% of our unions have already signed the charter. And at some point, I'll briefly go through it. What we're doing is we are all affirming that we are committing to the principles of public administration. We uphold the Constitution. We do want all of us to do all of these good things. So SADTU is also committed to this. We have a good relationship. It's just that they have a louder mouth than I do. But no, we do have a relationship. And it is in their interest to rely on me to solve some of their problems. It is in my interest to rely on them to ensure that they can motivate the public service to greater productivity.
All right, Minister, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, well, we'll hopefully get to hear from some of those members of the public service and also members of the public that engage with the public service and see what their thoughts are as they come head to head, and also get some of the thoughts of the audience that are here with us here in Sandton. So that's all coming up after this break. Stay with us, don't go away.